for whatever reason, BTK just does not move the needle for people. Like, and Danger Mouse brings up a good point that in the Mindhunter series, they were building up to this big season where it was going to be BTK. That was going to be the focus of it. Like they had little scenes here and there that kind of alluded to that being the focus. But other than that, I've never heard anyone mention BTK and like the Dahmer, Gacy, Night Stalker conversations. And it's funny because like that that thought alone is like what drove him insane when he was in the midst of killing people, and what eventually led to him being caught because he was so bitter that he wasn't getting the attention that he thought he deserved for being such a psycho serial killer. He was like, yeah, what is it going to take to get, he literally was like, what is it going to take to get my name on the news?
Yeah, he like wrote the newspaper, right?
Yeah, he wrote the newspaper, he wrote news stations.
And then
He
that's eventually what ended up getting him caught because they handed that information over to the police. They were able to, if I remember correctly, trace the origin of the postage or something like that. Every envelope that's ever mailed or anything that's ever gone through USPS, there's like hidden text in there. It's just like when you go out to like if you try to print fake dollar bills on your at home office computer printer, there's like little unseeable text in there that lets anybody know that, particularly the FBI or the IRS, that this is actually counterfeit money. It's kind of like that with postage, so anytime you send something in the mail, it's tracked by where it came from and the type of paper, the stock that it's used on, all that stuff can be traced back to it. And I think that's how he ended up getting himself in
hey,
hot water.
real quick, Dave and Danger Mouse, I have a Luke topic for the Patreon that I hope you guys are there for. But yeah, you are right. But the other thing is you're right. That is eventually what led to him being caught. It's a little bit more stupid than that though. Um, but the like just real quick, he he is like uh, he was the dude who would put like notices on people's houses if they violated HOA rules and stuff. Like he was known in the neighborhood as like, oh, Dennis is gonna get you. Your grass is looking a little tall.
He was a
Yeah,
narc.
yeah, he was a fucking narc, dude, a fucking poser narc. And and I guess he got fired from Cessna, a company, and he was butt depressed and had free time. And he was like, oh, why don't I just indulge in this horrible fetish that I have? So he went to a house and killed, I think, a mom, a dad, and like two young kids.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he started a YouTube podcast.
And then, dude, there was another brother who was like out at school, and he came home and found, his like, anyways. So he did that. Nobody had any leads. Nobody knew what was going on. I think a year or two later, these like two fucking like criminals in the city took credit for it. They're like, yeah, we did it. We fucking did that shit.
What was behind that?
I don't know. Who knows how these people, their minds work. But so it's in the news like, oh, we found the people who killed this family. And he was so bitter about someone taking the credit. He's like, no, that was me, guys. Here, I can prove it. She was wearing this type of shoes, blah, blah, blah. He sent in this letter. And so then they were like, oh, damn, like this guy's out there. And
Which is an all-time horrific mistake.
yeah.
Like he got past the hardest part. Like he came out when serial killers were the hot new thing in like the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, hey, did you hear about the serial killer down the street? No. And everybody wanted to be serial killers. Like everybody wanted, it was the cool thing to be in the 70s. And it was the height of scrutiny around serial killers. He made it past those first 2 decades which you would think is the easiest time to get caught, and then popped up in like the 90s or early 2000s and goes, "Hey guys, I'm still out here. I could kill
Mhm.
again at any moment." Like, what a fucking dumbass.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like I feel like because he behaved that way, because he was like, "Hey guys, just like if enough time passed where they didn't talk about him on the news, he would send in like a driver's license of a person that he killed, you know? And he sent in like a draft of um chapters and brief summaries of a book that he wanted to write about himself. And the last chapter was, will he kill again? You know, so it was a lot of like, hey guys, just so you know, like pay attention to me because I really like when he paid. I think because he behaved that way, people are naturally turned off to the idea of talking about him. Is that am I off there? Like, do you
I,
what do you think about that?
I don't know, but I mean, is it wrong to say that America needs like a new serial killer? I feel like
Oh
we're
my
due.
god, dude.
I feel like
Jesus
I
Christ.
feel like we're due. Like I'm not asking for it, but I'm saying like I don't know. We could use like a national obsession.
No, I think the days of serial killers are long gone, man.
Well, would you
So much
consider?
crazy stuff happens all the time that it's just, you know, it's hard to dude, if you go and shoot up a school, you're it's barely a blip on the news, you know?
I'm not talking about school shootings.
I know.
That's a totally different class of crime. But like, would you classify the DC snipers as serial killers?
Yeah, I guess technically, yeah. They weren't as I don't think it's as psychotic as, you know, a Dahmer who has body parts in his refrigerator and is feeding pieces of human flesh to his neighbors. I don't think shooting people from long distance with a sniper is as psychotic, but yeah, I guess technically.
Um, I
But
just
anyways, yeah, so was with BTK to wrap this up, the fucking dude like had a pen pal relationship with the news station and the cops because he liked to send them out to random ass fields and say, "Hey, I left some clues for you there," and it would be like a Barbie doll with a weird noose around her neck,
yeah.
you know. And one of the times he's like, "I gotta send you guys some good shit, and I need to send you a floppy disk." And he's writing this in the letter. He's like, "You guys can't catch me if I send like you guys won't be able to find out who I am based off floppy disk, right?"
What a
And
dope. He let himself become too much of an old man.
yeah,
Like
right. Yeah.
like he got passed in time by the technology and he couldn't keep up anymore. And he was like, what are they going to do? Like,
Yeah.
do some sort of carbon copy on this thing? There's no way.
Yeah, these cops are they're nerds. They get into this line of business because they want to be honest. They're not gonna lie to me. Yeah. He's like, he literally asked them, "You guys can't catch me, right? If I send you," and they're like, "No, dude, of course not. What is this freaking, you know, you're good." And so he sends them a floppy disk, and immediately they're like, "Oh, it was at the Wichita, library at this time," and they look, and it's him. So, um, but anyways, yeah, that honestly, that documentary is really boring. If you watch it, don't expect much. I don't expect it to be in the top 10 for very long, but yeah.
I was worried where you were going when he said, you guys want to see something really cool? And he just sends in a DVD of him beating off.
I mean, it's weird. The guy would literally like he would wear
he,
weird
he
like
doesn't he doesn't realize that his face is in the camera shot. You can't
yeah.
catch me with this, right? No, no.
It's amazing that they used to catch people back in the day. Like before DNA tracing and evidence, I don't know how they caught anybody, you know?
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder like it's so like now they've got all the technology in the world, and I think DNA evidence used in the OJ case was like such a game changer,
Mm.
but it almost makes you wonder like are police detectives and FBI agents, are they really that great of agents anymore, or do they just have just superfluous amounts of tools at their disposal to catch killers, criminals, that it's just like a cakewalk for them?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because if you watch First 48, they just get a copy of the victim's, or they just get the victim's phone. They break into it, which seems very effortless for them. They just check the most recent text. Oh, this person texted him right before he died saying, "Hey, let's meet up at a gas station." Oh, it's this fucking dude. You know what I mean? Not
What's
saying
going to
that
be
all police work is easy, but yeah, it's way easier than it was back then.
what's going to be really interesting to see in the next 10 to 15 years is how much an effect uh, the idea of witness testimony can play in a case, positive or negative, because there's a lot of new science coming out now that essentially suggests that witness testimony is virtually useless because
Mm,
they say that the way the human brain works, people remember like a snapshot in their head, and they think they remember what happened, but as time wears on and the more time goes on, the less and less they remember it, the more they end up making it up, which is a real dagger for like cold cases, that where they don't have an answer to who committed the crime 20, 30 years down the road. But they're saying, new science is suggesting that witness testimony is completely useless. And also, the other big thing is confessions. Confessions, they're saying, are utterly garbage and useless because police have mastered this science. There's like a book that some lawman wrote up 25 years ago that says like this is exactly how you get a confession out of somebody. And there's so many of these cases where these guys that are on death row are getting off all
of
these
course.
years later because they finally get a good team of lawyers that proves these cops clearly coerced this confession out of this guy. Whatever he said to them when he confessed the murder, the serious crime, is not true, and you have to basically go back to trial all over again to reprove his guilt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
Anyways,
if we get to that point, all those first 48 dudes are fucked because that's all they do. They get the guys in there and they go, all right, well, we've got your friend in the other room. He says you did it. And they're like, oh man, shit. All right, I did it. I did it. They're like, got his ass.
wait, what's that voice you're doing?
Oh, it's just like you've seen first 48. Like I'm just doing,
I know,
you know,
but it sounded like there was like some sort of inflection there, like particular I don't know, ethnicity or something like that in the voice you're doing.
no, I'm just going off of temporary recall from like the last episode of first
I
48.
noticed it
So
wasn't an Indian voice or a Pakistani voice.
could have
Oh
been.
man, you ought to be getting me. That is fucked up, my friend. Oh shit. Oh, happy early Diwali, by the way, dude. I don't know if you saw that.
Dude, I saw an Indian guy in my neighborhood putting up Christmas lights earlier, and I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's getting festive early." He's really assimilating the thing that you always accuse them of not doing.
No, you see him like a random elephant with 8 arms going up, and you're like, what? What?
I started looking closer, and I was like, "Wait, are those red and green lights, or are they? Is that what are those colors?" And then I looked at the calendar, and I was like, "Oh no, these are Diwali lights. This is he's not assimilating at all."
Oh no! Wait, what color are Diwali lights?
I don't know, man. They're like turquoise or something like that. I don't know.
I'm to be having the blue, to be having a Christmas. What is without you, motherfucker? I'm gonna be bunch you. All right. uh Danger Mouse says Rex Heuermann is a recent serial killer. Gilgo Beach serial killings.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
was a
dude.
Netflix thing on that too. That guy got away with it for like 20 years. I feel like he went off. He popped off in like 2003 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they only caught him like 2 years ago.
Damn. Can you
But he was
imagine what that feeling is like where you do something incredible, like so awful, and you're probably convinced you're gonna get caught, and then years go by, and you're like, "Damn, I can't believe I fucking got away with that."
But
And then the roosters come. What is this? Anyways, you know what I'm
the,
saying?
the roosters come home to pray. I know.
Yeah, yeah,
But wouldn't you agree with me though that there's like you could almost scale this out like between 1 to 10 there is like almost on the 10 side I would say an admirable level of detail that certain killers take in their
mhm.
craft to where like if they top out at 10 you go all right look he's clearly a bad guy but I respect his work ethic.
Yeah, yeah,
Like Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach killer, he was just going after low level like prostitutes in Long Island and New York. That there's no
yeah,
respect in that. I mean, the
yeah,
only thing you can respect about his game is the fact that he got away with it for so long. But he's getting away with it for so long because he's killing people that nobody knows or cares about.
yeah, yeah. That's true.